Oh, we made it worse. Today we are continuing our make Stinkbug drivable project. The next thing on the list, I think, that would keep us from getting like immediately pulled over is taillights. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to get brake lights, and in that same vein, we're gonna try to get it charging. So what I have here is a cheap knockoff of a Delco 10SI alternator and a bracket that's supposed to make it fit. So I think what we'll do is we'll head out to the yard, get the hood up, pull the old generator off, mount this alternator. I got some charge wire and some stuff, and we'll try to at least get it charging. And then we will figure out if our brake light switch works, trace the wires back. They look like they're newer taillights, but the truck was 6 volts. So if they're LED, that doesn't matter, right? They just would have been dim. So is that what they were doing? Was it half-ass converted at some point? I don't know. I know the headlights are factory. They're not going to work on 12 volts. I don't really care. We're not driving it at night. So this is the generator, 6 volt factory unit. Like I said, I've got brackets that are supposed to adapt. Whoa, hood might be falling on us. I've got brackets that are supposed to adapt a more modern GM alternator. This belt is 3/8. It looks like, and in rough shape. I don't know. The more I touch it, the more it disappears. Might have to get a belt for it too. There's some wire in here that's modern. So it tells me that someone's been in here. There we go. How it coming? I don't know if I need to reuse this hardware. Some better be. So here's what we got as far as kit components. This bracket here must take the place of this. So it'll mount to the frame here. And it must grab that, and this bolts for that. Okay, sweet. And then this one is the adjuster. It must be, because it's the only other piece that's got a similar shape. So first step is bolt this plate, I guess kind of loosely, to the block, because it's slotted for what I imagine is slotted for belt alignment. So let's hop up and slam this in there quick, and then we'll set the alternator in it. It does look like it has a pretty narrow pulley, a fairly deep V, so our belt might work. We're gonna run it anyway. Okay, so this plate goes here. Let's just loosely mock everything up. How about we need this bracket to be as far back as it'll go. So see what I'm seeing here as I hold this up, the belt alignment's way off, which means that bracket needs to move back. We are back with the super slot. We'll run her all the way back in our slot. Hopefully this is too much and we can come forward a bit instead of having to go more, because we're getting awful thin. Alternator going in for the millionth time. Oh, it's already looking better. Can you see that? Whoa, that's a finger pincher there. I'm just going to put the nut on this cross bolt loosely so we don't lose it. And then I got to try to sneak this belt on. Went ahead and put the belt tension bar on there, which also doesn't fit that good, but it's whatever, to kind of hold this in place. It's as collapsed as I get it, but at least I don't have to try to hold it while I wrestle the belt on. All right, after 37 years of fighting, I finally got the belt on, everything tight, tension bar, not too much belt tension. I ended up having to take it off of the water pump pulley, put it on here first in the crank, and then kind of use this to lever it on around. So now we got to wire this thing. I bought this little harness, this plug goes in the back of the alternator. The white wire here goes to switched ignition. We're either going to run it to the ignition switch, which seems terrible because I got to take the dash apart again, or to the positive side of the coil, which is out in the open. We might do that because it's switched also, right? It's got a diode in line, which is important because that means the truck will shut off when you turn the key. If you didn't have this, the alternator is excited, it's charging, providing power to the coil. Turn the key, the motor's still turning,
you don't lose voltage. So that's important, diode. This red one goes to the post, the battery post on the back, and then off of that battery post we'll run big wire. This will be the charge wire back to the battery. See if I can get in here. There's a little rubber plug, and it comes out like that. That's where this clips in. Okay. This red wire is just going to loop over to here. Off of this, we're going to run a bigger gauge wire direct to battery positive. This one here, like we just talked about, I'm going to crimp. I'm going to probably grab another white, crimp it, and come over to the positive side of the coil. I don't know exactly how I'm going to get there. Probably around the back. Let me look. Positive side of the coil is this brown wire here, and it's kind of out in the open. So I think that's what we'll do is we'll make a short section. We'll kind of come up around the back and grab onto this. Let's do that first, and then we'll make the charge cable, which will also come over here to the what's supposed to be the starter solenoid on a modern rig. It's going to be the starter switch on ours because it's direct to battery hot all the time. Okay, we're back with some white wire. Colors match. We'll leave this long and it's going to end up over there. Okay, now let's make this not so horrendously ugly. Which way do I want to go? The exhaust is right here. I don't want to melt anything. Maybe I'll come up this way. You come through here. I'll have to keep it away from the exhaust. I do think the front's the move, though. This is probably a little overkill, but I've got some heat sleeve stuff that I use on turbo cars. Now we need to work on the bigger charge wire, and it's going to come from the alternator down and over to right here, which is hot, directly to battery positive. We need to hook up the big wire that actually charges the battery. I didn't have any heavy gauge stuff, so I bought some. Ooh, that is excellent. So this came with connectors. I was going to solder these, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to try to crimp them first and see how I feel about it. So this also gets picked up off of here. And then we need to somehow get over here. I don't know what the best route is again. So I could put a little bit of turn in this. Up, around, and down. I think that's going to be our most direct route. Here are my thoughts. Off the alt, we'll come the same direction we took this white wire. Just a little bit farther. We'll come down here and tag into this switch. Probably put some heat shield on this too, and this will just sneak down in here real nice. Whoa, it's ripped my pants on the bumper. All right, we're back. Went with the same heat resistant as we did for the excite wire. So we're gonna put this together for real this time, which means we gotta tighten the bolts, everything. Come around here, off down this way, right in to the battery twist, which I gotta get that, which is like a 9/16-ish. So here's the other thing. We're gonna fire this up after this and just make sure it is charging. But then we're gonna want to like address brake lines. Is the next thing, right? Stuff used to connect to 12, well, what was 6-volt positive. I don't know where it goes. I don't know what'll happen if I end it with 12. It goes back into the cab, so maybe this is old ignition switch stuff. But basically what we're gonna have to do is find a way to get 12 volts at least back to the brake lights, and I don't know where we're gonna pick that up at. We've got the diode in line. We've got the charge wire going direct to battery positive. The only thing to do now is to grab our meter, see where the battery's at, start it, see if that number gets bigger. We got our meter. Let's just see where this battery's at for a little bit of frame of reference. 4.9. Oh. We made it worse. So have a look. I think I might have my wires kind of in the wrong spot. So when this comes down to hit the starter button, it's not. So I'm going to disconnect the battery, loosen this patch out, button, twist these. Belt alignment, those are flip. Bad. All And the next thing we have to try, which I kind of forgot about, is that diode setup. So if I turn the key and it doesn't shut off, we have a problem. All right, no problem. We have a charging system, 12 volts, with a battery that's way too big that we need to deal with. Feels like we did a lot and not a lot at the same time. Some days are just kind of like that, I guess. But Stinkbug charges. Converted it to a GN 10SI 12-volt alternator, so now we don't have to worry about our battery dead. Learned that our brake light switch is garbage. I need to order one of those. Once we have that, should be able to figure out a way to get power back there. When this thing at least has taillights and is legal enough to take to the bar, which is kind of the goal. Just for the leather turns, there's one off right on the street. Thanks as always. Please like, subscribe, and see you guys next time.